Hi, this is me again doing one of my 50 and fledgling posts and content share. Today is known as International Women's Day, and in honor of that, I'm wearing my polo from the years when I served on the National Women's Commission. I served from 2008 to 2018 on the National Women's Commission. And today I'd like to talk about a topic that may hit home with a lot of us, but because it's important to me, and that is spending time alone, loving your own company, self-acceptance, accepting yourself, and being able to stand up for yourself. And I think that is an important topic for 50 and fledgling, because a lot of us grow into a deeper confidence to stand up for ourselves and to accept who we are the older we get. I grew up in a family where women were the leaders. We had a strong patriarch, but the women in our family, my grandmother and my maternal side, and her sisters were strong women. They led their families. Most of them led their families alone for a considerable period of time, either because of a separation in a relationship or the death of a spouse. And so for me, being woman, being girl, and leading and doing everything for yourself was not an alien concept. I grew up as a child wondering about having a father in the home, and always wanted my children to have a father in the home. But as a woman or a girl myself, I never felt uncomfortable in my own skin. I was able to accept that. I saw women do everything around the home and everything to earn for themselves. And so that wasn't an alien thing to me. I grew up in a single parent home, and my mother was the sole breadwinner, and she was very strong. And I also saw as a child where there were times I felt she was taking advantage of, simply maybe because she was a woman, and a woman who had needs to raise children on her own. But she was strong. She never shirked. And so shirking was never a thing for me. And so that was something I grew up knowing. And just knowing that I can do whatever it is I want to do and whatever it is I'm interested in doing. I just need to believe that. I was a very sociable young person. And so I was hardly ever alone. So the part about being alone and liking your own company, I never thought about, because I was always around people. I had siblings. When we were together at our family home in Cayo, there were a lot of siblings. So there was hardly any time to be alone. So that part was something I learned as an adult. Having my children, I chose to spend a lot of time at home, being self-employed. And so I learned to love my own company and to cherish my own company and to be comfortable in my own company. But the flip side of that, standing up for yourself and accepting yourself, that was never strange to me. In fact, I have a male former boss who told me that I was one of the most self-accepting and the B word, and he said he meant it in a good way, and that's another thing. That B word, I never found it offensive. I always turned things to the positive. So I would say Queen Bee to you. So it was hard for me to feel less than because of anything somebody did or said to me. And I credit that to the fact that I came from a family of strong women, of women who led and women who didn't seem to have the time to sit down and wallow. And so I don't know that I ever thought that was natural for women to shirk back or for women to wallow. And so the hardest things for me was when I wasn't able to assert myself, or when I couldn't assert myself for some reason or another, or defend myself. I find that I have regrets when there were times when I didn't stand strong enough for myself, or I didn't stand by something I believed in. And I found that when I look at regrets, that's where my regrets come in. And so today on Women's Day, I wanted to talk about that, because as women, often we're thought that, we should be quiet. You heard the saying, girls should be seen and not heard, and you're raised that way. I don't ever hear that from my family. I never heard a woman telling another female in the family that, except that you were supposed to stand strong, broad your shoulders, stick out your chest, and be proud. That's what I grew up hearing. And so that for me is very important today. And I think as we go along and as we progress with this gender consciousness and gender empowerment, we're more and more telling women, you already have a voice, let it be heard, or there's already a space for you, claim it, step forward, pull up your own chair. And so we're hearing all of these things now, whereas in the past, some of us may have lived in circumstances where that's not what we heard or that's not what we witnessed. But I have to say that I have never been or known myself to be a shrinking violet. And I've been most uncomfortable when I allow myself to be a shrinking violet, or when I allow myself to be influenced by what is not me, or what is not from something I truly believe in. And so 50 and Fledgling, believe in yourselves. Stand tall, pull up your chair. You have a voice already, let it be heard. There's a space for you, claim it. Enjoy your Women's Day, enjoy Women's Month. Belize celebrates it for an entire month, so let it be one of consciousness, of centering ourselves.